The insider activity has been consistently bullish. The stock moves lower, they buy the stock.
During April's big market drop, insiders were on a buying spree.
Purchases in April and over the past 12 months were by the CEO, the chief accounting officer, several directors and VPs.
MarketBeat's Thomas Hughes dug into the data to find 3 companies insiders could not stop buying this spring.
It certainly shows that insiders believe that the stocks are trading at value levels.
From small to mid and large cap companies, the insider buying reveals some pretty strong momentum happening behind the scenes.
This is really a free cash flow and a capital returning machine. They're projecting free cash flow to top $1 billion this year. I think that's why the insiders are buying. That's why the institutions are buying. That's why analysts are on board.
Will it be enough to get you on board for these 3 companies? Let's dive in. Thomas, so great to have you back on the show again, talking about insider buying. This is something we follow at MarketBeat all the time because a lot of retail investors are interested in knowing what those insiders are doing. So let's just start off this conversation before we get to your list of 3 companies insiders are buying heavily this spring. Let's just dive into why we follow insider trading.
Well, insider buying is important because when insiders are buying a stock, it shows some confidence. We have to assume that the insiders know what's going on. And as executives, they probably already have fulfilled their requirements to own stock. So if they start buying new stock or start buying stock suddenly after not buying stock for a long time or switch from selling to buying, it can be a signal for investors.
Yeah, that's why we always talk about insider trading on this channel. If you're a subscriber, you have seen us talk about this plenty of times before. If you are not a subscriber, hit subscribe now. We'd love to have you join us for our daily stock list ideas and deep dives into different companies. Subscribe and stick with us for the long run here on MarketBeat. Some of these stocks were really down quite significantly in April.
Yeah, they were. I think that this shows some support for the stock, some confidence in their businesses. It certainly shows that insiders believe that the stocks are trading at value levels.
Well, let's get into the list now of 3 companies that insiders are buying right now in the spring. What's the first company on your list?
Yeah, the first one is Neoen Corporation. It's a global-based biotech company. They're focused on food and animal safety. They make a lot of diagnostic products to make sure that either food or animal health is safe. So this year they're growing. They generate profits. The stock has been in a prolonged downtrend. I can't really figure out why. Maybe because it's just not that interesting. But it hit a long-term low this year. But the insider activity has been consistently bullish. When the stock moves lower, they buy the stock. So purchases in April and over the past 12 months were by the CEO, the chief accounting officer, several directors and VPs. So it's pretty broad-based support, I would say. They don't own a ton of stock, about 1.15%, but they do show confidence with their purchases, and their confidence is also seen in the institutional holdings.
Now, this is a pretty small company, one of the more of a small cap list. What made this company stand out enough to make the list of a high insider buying?
Well, right. Well, I had noticed that there was quite a bit of insider buying last month. And this list was just based on the top buys by market cap. So Neogen is our small cap choice. Significantly, as a small cap, institutions own about 97% of the stock. So it's viable. It's a good company. It's a good stock to own. There's no reason for institutions to own that much of it if it wasn't. And they've been buying this year, so they also show some pretty good support for the market.
So institutions are buying. That's a good sign of viability. What do analysts have to say about this company?
Analysts are generally bullish, but take that with a grain of salt. We're tracking 2 analysts right now, so there is some interest, but not a lot of interest. They bring some investment dollars to the table, but it's not like there's 40 or 50 analysts like with Meta or Netflix. But they're bullish. This past year, they've kind of reduced their price targets a little bit, and that's aided the downdraft in the price action. But the range of these 2 targets assumes the market's at its floor right now, with potential for 160% upside. So the question is which one of these analysts is right, or if it's kind of an average of the 2. So this stock is either fairly valued or deeply undervalued. But based on what they say, I would not expect to see significantly lower prices without some negative turn in the outlook.
Interesting. Last thing on this one, just because it's a company that a lot of our investors might be hearing about for the first time, let's talk about potential risks with the tariff situation and regulations that might be out there coming. Any risk for this company specifically?
Well, with tariffs, there could be a lot of impact to the import and export of food products, and that would certainly have an impact on their business.
Yeah, something to watch for as you're looking at this company. So we went from a small cap company to the next company on your list is more of that mid cap company that's seeing a lot of insider buying this spring.
Right, so that's mid-cap Matador Resources, and Matador Resources is not new to insider trades or to our list or our coverage. The insiders have been buying this stock pretty regularly for quite a long time. But this is a U.S.-based, U.S.-focused energy play. They're targeting 17% volume growth this year. They're also leaning real hard into efficiency and cost controls, managing their rig counts. But they're also focused on free cash flow. So this is really a free cash flow and a capital returning machine. They're projecting free cash flow to top $1 billion this year. I think that's why the insiders are buying. That's why the institutions are buying. That's why analysts are on board. So in April, purchases were made by the EVP, the CEO, and a director. And it was compounded by some purchases the first week of this month. So the trend of purchases extends well before April, continues in April, continues this month. Insiders are just buying.
That's definitely a signal for a vote of confidence with what's going on in the company. What could be triggering some of that confidence with insiders? Is there more demand in their field, more demand for their services? There doesn't seem to be a lot of negative impact on this industry right now anyway.
I mean, I think it's the management, it's the quality of the operation. This company is really focused on cash flow and capital returns. They pay a solid dividend. They're repurchasing shares. And I think that really is why analysts and institutions are buying.
Can we talk a little bit more about this business? What does this company do specifically, and what sets it apart from other energy companies out there?
There's really not too much to set it apart other than its quality, its operational quality. It's a smaller U.S.-based operator. They're upstream and midstream, so they're exploring, they're developing wells, they're drilling, and they're shipping their product to downstream markets, but they're not involved with the selling of the product. So right now, they're being impacted by lower prices, but the plans and the ramping of production is offsetting that. We're seeing that happen in other companies as well in the oil patch. But ultimately, it's the cash flow, the capital return, and the earnings quality.
Plenty of inside buying for this oil company. If you are interested in other energy stocks right now, check out this free premium report just for our YouTube viewers right now. It's about 7 energy stocks to buy and hold forever and the impact they could have on your portfolio. Scan the QR code right now or click the link we have right in the description of this video to get that free report. You can download it now on MarketBeat.com. Well, Thomas, let's get to your third pick. We're this time diving into a large cap company that has also seen a lot of insider buying this spring.
Right, that's FTPI Aviation. This is an interesting company because their business is basically in the used aircraft business. They're refurbishing engines, renting aircraft. They've got insiders buying, not actually in April, but the first week of May. And this was really important to me when I noticed it because it's the first activity in over a year and only the third time they've been buying in 3 years. They've only bought in that time. So the insiders are bullish on the stock, and for some reason they decided to buy in May, and I think it was because the price was so low.
Yeah, what led to kind of that drop in the stock price for this company?
Well, it's just the general macroeconomic conditions. The tariff threat, the uncertainty led the entire market to sell off, and this company, like so many else, was just thrown out with the bathwater.
Has it seen any recovery after earnings or anything else that would indicate maybe this is something retail investors should be looking at too?
Yeah, the price action since the report has been very bullish. The market is showing a pretty solid bottom at critical levels. It looks like it's gearing up for a rebound. Analysts are raising their targets, so I would think this stock could rebound pretty solidly this year and could gain a mid double-digit to low triple-digit amount.
That's a pretty good outlook for this company. I'm also curious about just the outlook for and the demand for some of the products they have. If they're a used aircraft carrier, maybe used parts, that makes sense in an economy that might be dealing with tariffs for several months or years to come.
Oh, for sure. I think the main theme of earnings reports this season is, if not efficiency, it's cost controls. They're just controlling their cash, preserving their cash flow and their capital. And so using refurbished engines, renting lower cost items, moving away from new items will certainly fits into that outlook.
Well, this is an interesting pick. Three companies we haven't really mentioned here before. Where can investors, if you are looking and following what the insiders are doing, where's a good place they can go to get some more of your coverage on all of these different insider buys?
Well, my coverage is all over MarketBeat and also on InsiderTrades.com. Investors who want to know about insider trading can find that information on MarketBeat's platform. There are some great tools. You can filter by sector, by insiders buying, number of transactions, time frame. So there's lots of ways that investors can use these tools to uncover some investment ideas.
I want to wrap up the conversation with just looking at how much weight you personally, as a retail investor, put on insider buying and selling. There's so many different factors about a company that you can consider as an investor. How much weight do you put into the insider buying?
Well, I put about as much weight into that as I as I do into anything else. No one factor is a reason to buy a stock, but if that one factor aligns with, say, 5 or 6 or 7 other factors, then you've got a pretty strong buy on your hands.
Very good advice for investors, as always, Thomas. Thank you for your time today, and thank you for watching. Let us know what you think about these three companies, and also insider buying and selling. Is that something you track, and how important is that to you as you're trying to determine what stock to put in your own portfolio? Thanks for watching, everyone. Again, if you're not a subscriber to this channel yet, we'd love to have you hit subscribe and follow us for every video we put out. We usually do about 5 a week. Thanks again for joining us, everyone. As always, happy investing.